So when we're looking at angles, angles in parallel lines or angles in whatever situations, we often have these capital letters scattered all over the place. And what we're saying is the reason why we have these capital letters is so as we can refer to angles and lines using these capital letters. So, for example, if we say AB, we mean the line from A to B. So AB, let's highlight that in green, would be referring to this line here, whereas CD would be referring to this line here. So if we have two letters like this, it's usually referring to an angle. You might also see this in vectors if we're not just saying AB, but we see AB and an arrow are drawn above it. That means the vector from A to B, but that's in a different topic. So this is but geometry though, just like parallel lines, for example, in geometry, angles and parallel lines. The angles themselves can be, as we've seen here, can be represented by three letters. So if we look at angle, what I've labelled as angle A, well, in fact, let's look at the more straightforward example over here. Whenever you have an angle, it's always two lines that have met. And so the point where, so we're always going from one place to another place and to another place. So these three places are what we use the three angles for. Sorry, the three letters for. So this angle could be referred to as ABC, or it could go the other way, CBA. So just to get this point really clear, because you might see this in harder questions, you don't actually have to draw the lines. So if they had just a load of points like this, they might check your understanding about this. So let's write some letters down, label these points. They're usually with capital letters. Hang on a second. We've got C twice there. So that's E, F, G. So they might always be with capital letters, but certainly usually with capital letters. So if I wanted to draw an angle from any of these points, I could call this angle CDB. So I've just drawn CDB there. And they might ask you to draw an angle. They might say, okay, now draw angle CDE. And you would just move this over to here. So now it's CDE. Or what about FDE? Now you start it here and you go up there. Or FDG, like that. In all the cases, the examples I just gave, you always have D in the middle, which means it's the second stop, basically. We go from F to D to G. But I could go FAG, which means I'd have to make A the middle point. So this three angle notation is very useful to use, especially when you're having to give reasons for an answer to a question. So if we said why is angle X 121, well, they want you to also be able to explain the reason as well as sometimes they want you to explain the reason as well as just getting the answer right. And for that, it's useful to use this three-letter notation and sometimes the two-letter notation for referring to actual sides. So that's a good thing to get into the habit of.